talk to you about my postpartum experience and breastfeeding tips and must-haves that I believe will help you along your breastfeeding journey if that is what you decide is best for you and your baby. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We post videos every Monday. And yeah, let's get started. For my postpartum experience, I did have a C-section. I was in labor for 23 hours and then the doctor called an emergency C-section. So that kind of sucked, but as long as everything was good in the world, I was fine. I was gonna make it through it. It was scary, however, I was most nervous about the postpartum experience because I did not prepare myself for a C-section recovery. I had already mentally prepared myself for vaginal delivery. But honestly, for me, I think the key thing was that I kept drinking water. The hospital cup that they gave me was always being refilled. Although it was hard for me to move a little bit, honestly, whenever they would ask me what my pain level was, I would always respond with a 2 or 3 because it really wasn't anything terrible. Yes, it did feel weird because, I mean, I had an incision and a baby just came out of my stomach, but I honestly wasn't in that much pain. I didn't feel the need for any medicines, and so I would always tell them 2 or 3, and then whenever I felt like I could, I would just walk around as much as I could. If it was to the restroom or to hold Mia or just to clean up around the room. And little by little, I just got more comfortable with it. In the bed, it was hard to move around because I just didn't want to break anything. I didn't know what it looked like, and it was covered with the bandage, and so I didn't really know what it looked like. That didn't come off for a couple of days, and then even when I was able to shower, I was still kind of nervous, but you know, it's really nothing terrible. For me, it wasn't terrible. I know it's different for everybody. However, I just want you to know if you have a C-section, it's not always as scary as it sounds. Like I said, I drank a ton of water and I just took it easy, didn't lift a lot. Obviously in the hospital, there's not really much to lift, but even at home when I was released, I still took it pretty easy, even though you're tired as heck anyway. The healing for the C-section really wasn't the most difficult part of my postpartum. Honestly, it was just getting used to the new rhythm, learning what Mia needs and how to take care of my needs and sleep somewhere in between there. I did decide early on I was going to breastfeed. Luckily, I had a friend that kept encouraging it, and then she just inspired me by doing it herself. I knew that that was something I wanted to try to do, and so I did try to do some research beforehand, read as much as I could. I heard it wasn't going to be easy, but I also didn't know how hard it was going to be. I guess I don't exactly know how long postpartum is, because it's something that nobody really tells you as a mom. At least nobody told me that even though you're a mom and you're worried about how the baby is growing, you as a mom are also reborn, and you also have to take care of that and nurture that and make sure you're developing into the mom you want to be by educating yourself, taking care of yourself. I think that's really what postpartum is about. I know some people have their mom stay with them for a little bit, or even have outside help with the baby so that the mom can get rest herself. It is very difficult. For me personally, my partner was always working most of the time. He would pick up a lot of overtime, and so it was just my kind of personal decision to not wake him up just to like maybe change her diaper, because I was breastfeeding. And so when you're breastfeeding, a lot of the responsibility does fall on the mom. There are some things that he can do to help, like maybe bring you water or prepare a snack or get you more breast pads or maybe a new shirt, or even burp the baby so that you have time to get yourself together after feeding the baby. But that's really if your partner is there with you all the time. Postpartum is a big mental challenge as well. It's very rewarding. However, it is very challenging as well, I will say. It has not necessarily been easy for me, but that's just my new responsibility and role in life right now. I'm just a mom, not just a mom, but right now I want to focus on just being a mom and making sure that I do everything I can for the time that I'm able to be with Mia to prepare her for her life ahead. I think in the postpartum period, a mom really realizes the kind of mom that she can be compared to the mom she always imagined she would be. And I think that's really special because you're really in control. You're in this part of your life, and there are so many ways to do things that you have to make a lot of big decisions, and you know it's going to affect the baby. And it's just a new perspective because I am able to prepare her for her life ahead, and that's on me. And I think that's what has made it so challenging for me, is figuring out what really will be the best thing for Mia. And I won't know, which kind of sucks, until later on. But I just have to go based off of my own experience and other people's experience, which is why I like doing these YouTube videos, because this is something I really relied on before giving birth, and even during those really early breastfeeding times when she wouldn't go to sleep and all she wanted to do was be attached to me. I would watch YouTube videos on breastfeeding, the best way to breastfeed, different kinds of pumps, how to get some sleep, everything, you name it, I YouTubed it. Because just hearing other moms talk about their experience and that it wasn't easy for them either, and that you're not alone, helped me a lot. Okay, I feel like I've talked a lot about postpartum, at least what I think I want to say about it. So now I'm going to jump into breastfeeding. If you're watching this, it's because you are considering breastfeeding, and I applaud you. It is not easy. Even if you are a stay-at-home mom, it's not easy. There's really nothing easy about it until you get the hang of it a few months later. So I'm here to tell you, you can prepare yourself as best you can with what I give you, but you're gonna just have to take it day by day. What helped me was getting a calendar and literally marking off every day I got through, because after a certain amount of time, you will reap the rewards. And I will post that picture right here. This helped me a lot because it gave me kind of a time frame of, okay, after this, it's supposed to get easier, and if not, I'm pretty close to it. I will also post links that encourage breastfeeding and give a lot of information so that you are well informed on the benefits that you're giving your baby and the benefits that you're getting by doing this. And so I hope these resources will help you and motivate you. In the hospital, my milk did not fully come in yet by the time Mia was born. The first milk that comes out is called colostrum. It's yellow, and I actually took a picture of mine because I was so proud of it, because I thought that I couldn't produce. And so the nurses, what they'll tell you is to pump. They'll encourage you to pump so that and get the message that, okay, it's time to make milk. So the first thing that comes out is colostrum, and really this is all that your baby needs to be nourished during the first days of life. Nurses really just want your milk to come in, but your body doesn't always do that. So personally, my milk didn't come in until I went home, and because I had a C-section, that wasn't until I think 5 days after Mia was born. And that same night, my milk came in. But before that, the nurses would encourage me to pump. And the only thing that would come out was that colostrum, because again, it's the first milk that comes out. And then on the 5th day, I finally got what you would be able to classify as regular milk. But because I was pumping, I didn't know any better. So of course I followed their advice. And I wouldn't say it was a terrible thing. However, I kept doing it for maybe 2 to 3 weeks. But it was so draining because I was breastfeeding her and pumping, and it was just so much work for my nipples, and they are very sensitive at the beginning. You don't even want to shower. You don't want the water to hit them because it's just getting used to that new friction, the new moisture, and it's just a lot for them to get used to. to be honest. So some of the products that helped me, I want to compare Lancino Nipple Cream and Organic Mama Butter, I think it's called. So they both are for you to put on after you feed and then put a breast pad on under your bra. However, I will say that I like the Organic Mama Balm better than the Lancino cream, because the consistency of this one was a lot gooier and heavier, I felt like, and the other one felt like room temperature butter. So it was a lot more soothing to put on, and I didn't dread putting it on. It was more of a relief, like it's supposed to be. However, it doesn't provide complete relief, so don't expect that, because I did and I never really got it. Another thing was breast pads. So I was given disposable breast pads that someone else never used, and so I didn't know there were reusable breast pads. I kept having my partner buy disposable breast pads. However, that ended up being very messy because I was constantly taking it out and then leaving it, and then having to arrange the baby and the pillow that I'm using and the other pump that I'm using over here, which I will talk about. And it just ended up being a lot of trash that I didn't have time to pick up and I didn't want to pick up. So and ended up buying some washable pads on Amazon. And at first I would recommend buying maybe 2 packs, because your body is regulating the amount of milk it makes, and so you're going to overproduce. Especially if you pump, then you're going to overproduce, because you told your body beforehand that your baby was eating a lot, and really it was you were just pumping, and so your body isn't regulated to what the baby really does eat yet, and so you're going to produce a lot more. You're going to be engorged, and it might hurt a little bit, and it might be a little uncomfortable, but you will probably use a lot more in the beginning because your body's getting used to the amount of milk it's making. It's still trying to learn, so you're going to overproduce and leak a lot, so they're going to fill up faster. You're not going to want to have it in your bra all day. You're going to smell it, and you just need to change them a lot more often. Later on, your body will regulate and you will not have to change them multiple times a day. Right now, I don't even have to change mine because it lasts all day and I barely even notice. That was a lot. So reusable breast pads and nipple butter. You're gonna want that for sure. Also, I would recommend having breastfeeding stations around your house or apartment or wherever you're staying. Make sure you have your breast pads, a bottle of water, maybe a snack, the nipple butter. If you're using another pump, like for instance, I use the Haka or the Haka, however you want to call it. I would use that on the other side while I was breastfeeding to catch the other letdown on the other side. Burp cloth and maybe an extra shirt, because wow. If your partner is there with you or they're able to help you, ask them to get you water or to burp the baby while you're arranging yourself again, because it does kind of take a lot. This is very tiring sometimes if you're not in the right position. Your back aches, your arms hurt. You know, you're still getting used to it. You're gonna have to learn on the go. That's really what this is about. But just don't be too tough on yourself. You know, take it day by day, take each lesson, and do better the next day. Okay, you're gonna be okay. Damn it. I know when I would breastfeed her at the beginning, we were always trying to get that latch perfect because my breasts were so sensitive, and it was because she wasn't opening her mouth wide enough. And I actually ended up going to a lactation consultant maybe a week after I left the hospital, because I just was really nervous, because they had told me that she had dropped weight before we left the hospital, and so that just kind of stuck with me and kind of hurt my heart a little bit, because I felt like I was starving her. And so that was kind of a way that I beat myself up, and I really didn't need to put that pressure on myself. But that did push me to perfect her latch and just keep getting through it, because I felt that responsibility, and I really just wanted breastfeeding to work out for us. I really wanted that for her. Another thing that will make breastfeeding smoother, I would say, are specifically nursing bras. I bought some off of Amazon. I bought a couple different ones. The first ones I bought were very comfortable. They did not have a wire, and they were very easy. They were just cotton, so they wouldn't bend weird or anything. And then I bought some more later on because I wanted some like nicer looking bras. I felt like I needed to get some confidence back in myself, so I decided to get some nicer looking bras. The one I'm wearing right now I think is just normal. It's not anything special, but yeah, I decided to show you the breastfeeding pads. What's different about them is that they have this little latch, and so this part goes down and you're able to just feed your baby like that. And then once you're done, usually you're doing this one-handed, you just put this up and clip it and you're good to go. Another trick also, if you're breastfeeding in public and you don't want to completely expose your stomach or your sides, is wear a tank top, like a strappy tank top like this, and then you can wear a shirt over it, like a t-shirt or something. And then what you can do, my friend taught me this, unhook this and place this loop, place this in this loop, or that way it's like this, and then snatch this on there that way, and then you can just kind of adjust it how you need it. That way you have your shirt, and then that way when you need to breastfeed, you can snatch it and you won't have to play with your strap or pull your shirt down, and it's just a lot easier. Another lifesaver for me were breastfeeding shirts. So I also found these on Amazon, and I will link these below just so you guys can kind of take a look at them and maybe look at some similar items, and maybe that would be something you'd be interested in. But basically they're shirts that have an opening on the side, so you just have to pull it over and then you have access to your bra. Those were awesome. There are so many things that you can use as a mom to breastfeed in public too. So there are scarves that double up as a cover for your baby. I personally didn't like that because I felt like it would get really hot in there and she would just be all kinds of confused. Personally for me, I didn't really have to breastfeed in public that often because as soon as she was old enough to where I felt comfortable to go out, COVID-19 happened, and so we were quarantined for another 4 to 5 months. We still kind of stay quarantined, but I didn't really want to go out anyway at first because I was leaking on the other side and I was overproducing, and so I really just didn't know what kind of accidents I might have, and I just didn't really feel comfortable going out with her. Another thing too is when you're feeding your baby on this side will leak. And so that's why I decided to use a haka on the side that I wasn't feeding on. Basically, it catches the letdown from the other side. And while I was watching a lot of YouTube videos on breastfeeding, I saw constantly women saving up like hundreds of ounces of milk. And so I don't know why I always wanted to have a really good supply of milk too. And so for a long time, I would save that, store it properly, after each session. So I ended up having a lot of saved ounces of milk that I still have frozen. They're actually good up to like 6 to 9 months depending on where you store them. But yeah, I never really used a lot because I was always with Mia, so I don't know what I was thinking, but I was proud of myself. I'm glad I could produce. But even then, I can do like milk baths or soaps or creams. It's really good for eczema, I've read. So there's a lot of different things. If you do end up storing some milk, it's not a complete waste if you don't end up using it. Something else I tried were shells. So basically you put that in your bra so that it catches the milk that is let down on the other side that the baby is not feeding on. However, those did help sometimes, but in the middle of the night when I couldn't see where the hole was, I would end up putting it upside down and then the milk would just run down my shirt. And so I would maybe use that in the daytime or have a nightlight handy that you want to turn on to make sure that the opening is on the top. And so when you put it in, the milk doesn't come out of the hole because you pour it out to store it. That's why there's a hole in the shell. Sometimes mine would be to the side or even upside down because I was just out of it most of the time. But if you're not like me, they weren't too bad. And if you're in the house all day, they're really not that noticeable anyway. Or under a sweater, it's really no big deal. So I hope that this was useful to some people. I hope that you got the support and the information that you're looking for. I know this is kind of long, but there was really a lot, and a lot of it you're just going to have to learn on your own. It's trial and error. I definitely recommend the breastfeeding bras, the nipple butter, and the washable breast pads. Those are like the top 3 things. And drink your water. Your milk will dry up or you will not be producing because you are not hydrated enough. Drink a ton of water and then drink some more, and make sure you're having enough protein every day because that definitely affects it as well.